You aren't ready to scale your business unless you have systems and processes in place. So, why are systems and processes important? Because unless you can get what's in your head onto paper, so your future staff are going to be able to do the same thing that you're doing, serving your customers in a repeatable, consistent fashion, your business will never scale. And I'm sure you don't want to be one of those people who just went into business to buy yourself another full-time job. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 pieces of advice to help you scale your business. So like I said in my intro, this particular video in this Entrepreneurial Insights playlist, if you will, is just me in front of the camera. And I want to create a discussion on scaling. I mean, this is probably one of the number one questions that you hear out there. Search it up on YouTube. Everybody's going like, okay, I have a business. Now, how do I scale it? How do I grow from maybe it's just you, maybe you've got an assistant, maybe a virtual assistant, maybe a VA or two. How do you grow from 1 or 2 people into a company that has 10, 15, 20 employees, supervisors, managers? How do you do that? How do you work on your business, not in your business? How do you go from not working in the day-to-day to touching the business once or twice a week, kind of looking at the profits, the bottom line, and tweaking things to improve? You can't do that if you're in the day-to-day, in the muck and grind, if you're dealing with your customers every day. However, as I just said in my previous videos, if you've been following this Insights playlist on entrepreneurial and business thoughts, I'm going against what I just said. I just recently fired, maybe a month ago, all 6 of my property managers. Again, 20-person company. I had an executive team, finance department, lots of middle managers. But my customer-facing staff, the ones that are the most important for my business, for the growth of my business, for our reputation, for our investors, our residents, and our vendors, those are the ones I chose to let go. Very, very difficult decision. And now who's going to do it? Well, you're looking at them, right? So if you're out there and you have a business, how do you scale? So obviously I did scale, and I would say, I mean, from the outset, it looks like we scaled quite successfully. We have 20 people. I actually took the last 24 months off and started working on my full-time real estate investment business, my developments, my flipping, my apartment block acquisitions. But like I said, reputation wasn't there. Now I'm starting to get phone calls from my clients and just an overall sense of unhappiness. And the main thing is, my communications, it's taking 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, maybe 2 months to get an answer. So that's customer service. And that is what you, as the single founder, the CEO of your business, is trying to mimic when you scale. What does scaling really mean? Scaling means that you hire your first employee, and now that takes things off of your plate. So maybe you hire somebody to do, I don't know, data entry, accounts payable, the bookkeeping. Maybe they're doing the packaging for you if you're in some kind of retail servicing business. Whatever it is, and I hope I'm speaking to your heart here, there's nobody in the world that's going to be able to do the same amount of work that an entrepreneur can do. And you've seen this. If you've ever tried to hire somebody, or maybe you already have somebody with you, it might take 2, 3, 4 people to do the work that you're doing as a founder. And I think as business people, we have to recognize that that's okay. I don't expect somebody to do 5 times the amount of work or the same amount of work that I can do. I mean, case in point, I fired 6 property managers, plus I had my 2 other full-time jobs, a few other businesses here and there, and I'm also doing now 6 full-time jobs. I'm not doing it well, and I'm behind, but I chose to do that because, number 1, I needed to see what was wrong. Number 2, I needed to see how I could fix it. What went wrong when I tried to scale? And that's what we're going to dive into today. Okay, so I promised you guys 3 tips on how to scale your business. So, why are systems and processes important? Okay, systems and processes, again, unless you can take what's in your head, get it onto paper, how are your future staff supposed to know on a consistent, repeatable basis what your business is all about? So think about this for a second. Let's say that you hire your first employee, okay? Great, congratulations. They're working day to day with you, and you basically say, do what I do. Okay, that works. And maybe you happen to find a superstar, okay? Maybe you're already thinking, oh, I've got this. Garrett doesn't know what he's talking about. When that person leaves you, and they will, I just saw an HR presentation last week by my HR consultant. It was just excellent. And the scary thing is the average person is going to be leaving you in 3 years. It's not an if, it's not, it's a when, okay? And you have to prepare for that. So if you're a business owner that is trying to scale your business, you find that superstar, and now the two of you are working hand in hand, everything's working great, customers are super happy, you're not really scaling your business because that other person is mirroring you. So two things are going to happen. Number one, they're going to leave. Or number two, they're going to leave and take everything that you taught them because they're a superstar and become your competitor. That's a whole nother thing about non-disclosure agreements, non-competition agreements. Won't even go there. But if you want to hear about that, certainly I can share my views on that and even some of my contract ideas. Okay, so if you find that superstar and they're working side by side, why isn't that scaling? Because you're not putting those things on paper. Now, what does putting pen to paper mean? It could literally mean you're taking and documenting every process that you're doing on paper so that then you can give that piece of paper to somebody else when you hire them and say, here is how we do X, here is how we do Y, here is why we do Z. Okay. Is that enough? It's a start. Okay. If you're at least getting things on paper, then you have a start to be able to have some kind of standard operating procedure, employee manual, systems instructions binder. So let's get into these 3 tips. Tip number one, work in your business. Okay, so I know I said, they say work on your business, not in your business, but we're talking about scaling. And I took a step back because I didn't feel like we scaled properly the first 5 times. So work in your business, but really take note of your surroundings. Now, what am I talking about? You need to go back and work in the day to day. I'm not talking about overseeing and supervising your 2 or 3 employees. You need to work in the day to day. You need to engage with your customers. You need to get back to what keeps your customers happy and take note of the little things you're doing. If you own a restaurant and you're the head chef, are you going into the dining room and engaging with your customers after the dinner rush is over? If you're an entrepreneur and you own a flower shop, are you giving a little bit of extra service and knowing the first names of your repeat customers? Are you throwing little things into the packages? Are you taking that extra step with a handwritten thank you note? All of those things that you're doing as a business owner and a founder, they're kind of instinctual. They're like breathing for you because this is your baby, this is your business. You need to teach somebody that, and you certainly can't teach them by saying, do what I do. So if you are giving those extra little handwritten notes, that has to go into your system and process so that somebody who's coming in brand new is not going to miss that step. And then the clients who are used to dealing with you as the founder are like, oh, something's changed. I used to get a handwritten note. It was really personable. I guess they've expanded and they don't have that personal touch anymore, or whatever it might be. So you need to engage with your customers. You need to take a step back into a customer-facing role, like I did. Again, I am now the single point of contact, as scary as it sounds, for all of my owners, my tenants, and my construction vendors. It's been tough. I'm trying to field 400 to 500 emails and communications every single day. It's actually not possible, but you have to set expectations. And I did set expectations when I made the announcement that we were terminating all of these employees. that the communications that people are going to be receiving were not going to be timely, but they were going to be of quality, because I know what I can do and I know obviously how I can engage with my customers. So tip number one, make sure that you're engaging and getting right down into the day to day. Tip number two, I've been talking about it, record what you're doing. That could be like what we're doing right now with your phone. Pick up your phone, selfie video. Okay, today I'm recording a video, instructional video on how to, again, sell flowers, how to make this cake, how to, in our case, perform a move out, perform a move in, how to onboard a customer. So if you're doing it on video, that's great. Honestly, to me, that's the best tip I can give you, because with all of these platforms now, you should be able to go on video, and then, most of them are free, and you can get a free transcript from that. Well, guess what? That transcript, if nothing else, can become a very raw piece of your first standard operating procedure. Think about it. Pick up your phone, record yourself in a selfie video. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need fancy lighting or anything. It just needs your words, your face speaking to your future employee, to your current employees. They watch that video. Okay, great. They kind of get it. You take that transcript and you can now piece that together into your instruction manual. Again, you can just have it very raw. It doesn't have to be that fancy, and that's fine. Okay. You could just do notebook and pen. It's a little bit slower, but at least it's better than nothing. I think the thing here is just make sure that you're documenting. Okay, document. Tip number 3, how do we get it into a system? How do we do that? How do we get this into a place where somebody is going to be able to number one, find it, and number two, act on it, okay? I'm just trying to give you really simple tips. Obviously, there's tons of software out there, free. You can even go in and subscribe and use them for a few months. But you don't have to get that fancy. Keep it simple, stupid, the KISS theory, you know what they say. And just get it somewhere. Where should your video live? Where should these documents live? Google Drive, Dropbox, if you're starting to have a team and you want them to be shared, or just get them onto your laptop hard drive. Back them up, of course. Okay, so that's tip number 3. And I'm going to give you a bonus tip. The checklist. If you're not a checklist person, you need to become one as a business owner. That checklist is going to be the heartbeat of every process that you have. So here in our property management company, we have lots of processes. Property management at the outset doesn't seem to be that complicated, but think about it. We have to advertise a property. We have to show it. We have to assess whether it's move-in ready. We have to screen a potential applicant. We have to move them in. We have to take meter readings. We have to book the elevators. We have to make sure the cleaners are going through. I don't know. The list goes on. Evictions, court cases, the eventual move out, the lease renewal. They're all processes. And this is not a property management video. This is a video for any entrepreneur that's listening. If you're a mortgage broker, if you're a lawyer, you all can dig out those little processes. If you're a lawyer, okay, how do we do a closing? How do we do a real estate closing? How do we write a will? If you're a mortgage broker, how do we onboard a client? How do we check credit? How do we prospect and make relationships with financial institutions, right? So all of those are processes. Turn those into a checklist, okay? If nothing else, that checklist, even more important than that video that I spoke about, is exactly what happens in those steps as you're going through that process. Think about a recipe. I like restaurant analogies because we used to be in the restaurant business. Every recipe essentially is a checklist if you think about it. Add flour, add water, turn on oven 375, bake for 12 minutes. That's all a checklist. So in our case, move out, right? Notify the owner they're moving, book the elevator, notify the tenant in writing that we're going to be going in to be doing more showings, book an occupied inspection to make sure it looks okay, take the old ad copy, make sure it looks okay, reevaluate the market value. Like there's a gazillion things, and doing it in a video and expecting your newest employee to follow the video and watch a 15, 20, 25-minute video each and every time you have this process. I'm sorry, but you're dreaming. It's not going to happen. And your customer service is not going to be good until that person learns 4, 6, 8, 12 months. Well, guess what? Do you have time to wait for 6, 8, 12 months for your employee to get up to speed on what you can do in about 15, 20 seconds? No, you need a checklist. So document everything you're doing, work in your business, get those checklists going, supplement those with knowledge videos, and you're well on your way to scaling. If you like this content, I'm going to be answering a lot of these questions. Obviously, this little playlist that I have on my YouTube channel is separate from my podcast. It's separate from some of my property management how-to videos. Leave me a comment down below. Obviously, I want you to like and subscribe. I mean, I think that's obvious so that this gets in front of a lot of people. But just engage with me. I will promise that I will answer your questions. Leave a comment to see if there's something else that you want, and see you next time.